member supported. KUNV HD2 Las Vegas.
Russell Mays, recipient of the Associated Press Citation Award for breaking news coverage, author of Fear Profits You Nothing and Tell 'Em Anything, holder of 2 patent pendings, awarded diplomas in architectural and mechanical engineering, certification in avionics and radar system operations and development, United States Air Force, diploma in film and television production and performance, winner of the Good Citizenship Award from the Daughters of the American Revolution, and an all-around good egg.
Yes, it's a very good morning. Just about 2.5 minutes after the hour of 8 on this wonderful Saturday, the 11th of August. It's National Bowling Day. Woohoo! So I'm sure all the bowling alleys out there are doing all kinds of good things for National Bowling Day. Get out there and knock a few pins down. Yes, I am Russell Mays, once again on a Saturday, bringing you all the news and information that's not worth a darn, but it's a lot of fun anyway. So all I can say is thank you very much for everybody joining me so early in the morning, except for on the East Coast. It's like 11 o'clock on the East Coast. It's 8 o'clock here. In Las Vegas, temperatures looking to be about 89 degrees on the outside right now. We're looking to have temperatures about 106, so that's not too bad according to what they were having out there earlier. 114 for the last few weeks. But it is August, and we're still getting a good start, but we are working our way into fall. So much is going on. And I don't even know where to start. Well, I do know where to start, but there is a story that just popped up I was just looking at by the Review Journal here. That's the Las Vegas newspaper. And, excuse me, it's talking about a forklift knocks down 13 power poles in South Las Vegas. And this happened right on the street that I live on. As a matter of fact, when I come down here to the studios last weekend, or the weekend before, I can't remember when it happened. It was when we had a lot of wind and everything else, and I thought the wind had blown it down. But according to this, is now they're investigating that a forklift driver knocked down 13 telephone poles. And I went, well, this is interesting. Why wouldn't they have known this before? Why a forklift driver? What was the thing? Did the forklift driver get mad or what? But they're not really saying. When crews arrived at the scene, they discovered that a forklift had knocked the poles over. I love the Review Journal's writing. The Journal is such left-leaning, they need to send all their, reporters back to school so they can write better. Not to say I'm any better, but it's frustrating to read their articles and how slanted they are. NV Energy said in an email, some power lines were reported to be live and blocking Polaris Avenue and Meltzer said. Okay. I would just advise folks to avoid the area. Well, dude, I went by there this morning. All the polls are up and running and doing good and all this kind of stuff. What is going on with you people? This story is so old, and they're putting it in the press now. I get so frustrated at it, I get tongue-tied sometimes, and it just drives me nuts. So anyway, that's our darling Review Journal here, and their immense coverage of the news that is so late in the news, unless it happened again. Let me see what happened here. Let's see if they give a time. Nope. Not giving a date or a time when it happened. This happened, a couple of weeks ago. And now they're printing it. Actually, they printed it yesterday. Put it in the paper. Ooh, we have a scandal going on. So, as far as the Review Journal and their scandal, probably a terrorist came and knocked down the polls trying to get people to stop gambling or something. Who knows? Anyway. So, a lot of good things are happening in the world of politics, of course. And one of the things that's happening right now, and I posted a good blog or video the other day on Facebook. If you follow me, you would have seen it. Is about the kneeling. Why are these guys doing this? I just can't it blows my mind. And they want to have their right to do that. Dude, go somewhere else. And people are saying, why don't you go somewhere else and protest? That's okay. Yeah, you should go somewhere else. My question is this. They had the entire off season to protest, to go on the news, to go do something, go to a riot somewhere where they're protesting the conservatives or whatever. Not one of them, not one football player went out during their off season and protested. Not one. So what are they going to do now? Now that the preseason's coming in, and Goodall, who is a spineless wimp, the only thing I have to admit, and I'm going to do shout-outs to the Dallas Cowboys. I love what they said. Look it, you stand or you're out. And that's a good thing. And my thing is the NFL, people were cracking up, and I was cracking myself up over this too. Is because I was considering it a conspiracy theory. And what I mean by a conspiracy theory is I think they're trying to push it to soccer, make the national pastime soccer, not baseball or football or whatever. So anyway, I got to do this. They've got to do something about these light sensors in this studio. And trying to just get the lights to come back on. There they are. They're back on. I mean, they go off so fast all the time. It's like, if you don't move them in, I mean, my God, we're in a radio station, for God's sake. What are we going to do? Circus Soleil, jumping jacks and everything else? I mean, I can understand trying to save money on energy and stuff like that. But good Lord, man, come on. But you also have to give it a little bit of leeway on the staff side, too. And the reason why is because this is a university-operated station where you do have a lot of students and liberal left-leaning kids that believe that they belong to this and their show is the only one. Mine's the only one that's worth a darn. Anyway, just kidding. But nobody else cares. I don't know why they would take headsets and plugs and mess the studio up and that kind of stuff. I just don't understand the youth nowadays. I don't know. That really derives. And that comes right back to the kneeling of the football, too. I mean, these guys are making huge amount of money. Some of them were just graduating out of college. Brought them out. What do you do? The draft, and then they get out there and they kneel and protest, and they have no idea what they're protesting. I do believe that they're protesting the death of our nation. That's what they're protesting. That's what they're advocating to do, is to kill the United States. And once they kill the United States, they won't have a football team to kneel and protest anymore. I swear to God, that's the way the Democrat Socialist Party is going now. Is anything that is detrimental to the United States, they back. If you're trying to do good, then it's bad. And they will call you every name in the book. And that's something else that I happen to realize, too, in my trek through the maze of stupidity by the left, is they are using the terminologies Nazi, racism, Islamic phobia, what is it, homophobia is the other one. There's a whole bunch of them, but they use it so much. They take the power and the meaning of it away. If somebody is a real racist and they are doing harm to whomever they're being racist against, it doesn't matter what your race is. If you don't like someone just because of their race, you're a racist. If you say it so much, it becomes unimportant. And that's what the media is doing. They have no foundation for anything. Why in the world? Okay, let's put it this way. We have the elections coming up, and they're talking about the blue wave and how they're going to take the House and the Senate back, which is fine. That's their prerogative. If they want to do it, that's fine. If the Republicans and the right-wingers, as myself, or the conservatives, do not get out to vote, they will do it. We have the power to take more seats in both the House and the Senate, and to really knock this country into good territory, prosperity for everybody. But you have to do your part. You have to get out there and vote. If you don't, the only thing that will happen is the Democrats will win only if the Republicans do not show up to vote. Trump knows this. If you notice, Trump is like the only president that is campaigning for all the senators and congressmen and representatives out there right now. I mean, sure, the other presidents went out once in a while and say, oh, I got to have this state, so they go out and do that if they ask for them. Trump is doing it for everybody. The other thing that I've noticed that the media is doing that they haven't looked into a lot is they're saying, well, people aren't turning out. Well, what's going on if you looked at the primaries? There's usually like one Democrat, and that one Democrat is the one that got all the votes. But with a Republican, there's a lot of good Republicans fighting the incumbent. And the incumbent and the Democrat are being split between each other. So, and that's just like the Ohio temporary position that was voted on. All of a sudden, they found an extra 588 votes out of nowhere. Ba-ba-da-da! And it brought the vote even closer because they want a recount. Something else about that is, why is it the Democrats are the only ones that demand a recount when they lose? The Republicans usually don't force a Chad counting or scream and holler that it's Russian collusion or somebody was wrong, but yet they're the ones that are bringing in illegal aliens so they can vote and give them a driver's license and along these lines. It just, it's absurd. And the absurdity comes from their knowing they are the ones that are causing a lot of this problems, but they don't want to take accountability for their own actions. So they're trying to push the blame off onto the opposite, the opposing side, which happens to be the Republicans. I mean, look at what's going on with this Russian collusion thing that's been going on for 2 years now. And the only case that Mueller can bring to court is Manafort's financial dealings 10 years ago. What happened to the Russian collusion thing? And there's something else that's really interesting that was brought up, and I did not know this, but I do have to look into it a little bit more, is that the Congress has the right to investigate Mueller. They were the ones that enacted Mueller's action to do the investigation. Since all this has been going on, and since they did it, because there's a lot of Republicans, the swamp Republicans, if you will, or the rhinos, that don't want Trump in there either. And I do believe Paul Ryan's one of them. Hence the reason why he's retiring. He's getting out while the getting is good, so he can get his pension. The swamp is starting to drain. You can notice everybody that's jumping ship. You can also notice that there are fresh blood coming in. Even on the Democrat side, there is fresh blood trying to get into the position. Even though that, what's her name, that woman there that wants to be a senator or something like that, which she can, I can't remember her name. She's got a great name, though. Anna Okuza Benduza, whatever. I got to look it up because I don't want to be insulted or accused of saying something wrong, which I'm always accused of saying something wrong. Female senator. I don't even know what state she's running in. That's how much I really... Okay. All right. It's a real weird day today, too. Candidate. Or, I don't know. What is it? New York, is it? Maybe? Yeah, I think it is. Let's see what we got here. I hate Google. Google is, I put in Senator for New York and it comes up Dean Heller. Dean Heller is Nevada. It gives me please. Google is so manipulative of the information that people try to look up. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is her name. And it's great that this woman really wants to get out there and, trying to do something. And Anthony Pappas is the one she presumably wants to defeat, or whatever. Let me read the story here from the New York Times, the New York leftist. Let me see what we got here. She was never held elected office. She is still paying off her student loans. She is, let's see, she's 28 years old. Women like me aren't supposed to run for office. Is that what she says? Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, why is her name hyphenated, said in a viral campaign video released last month. Right there is what I'm talking about. A viral campaign video. I love the way they use their words. Let's see. Tuesday night that ignited the New York organizer. When was this? Oh, this was June 27th. Okay. So it was a little bit older. I mean, her viewpoints are so millennial, if you will. They are millennial. And the reason why I say they're millennial is because it's, what am I going to get? You know, I want free health care. I want free education. I want a free job. I want a paycheck that I don't have to do anything with, but sit back and play video games all day long. Oh, by the way, make marijuana legal so I can go down and get my joint for the day and sit back and play those video games while you pay me a check. And in the meantime, for me doing this, I will vote for you. And that's pretty much what it comes down to. None of these politicians really will follow through on anything they guarantee while they're running for election. Both Republican and Democrat, both. Once they say this is what I want to do, once they get elected, they don't do anything. Except for Trump. Trump is really making people mad because he is accomplishing a lot despite all the animosity against him. I admire this man so much. Not the fact that he's a great Twitterer, if you will, but it's not so much as respecting him, but for all the BS that is being thrown at him constantly since he won the nomination for the primaries. He has been inundated with lies, false accusations, constant harassment, day in, all the way down through his family. Everybody that is associated with him gets trashed on, and the man still comes out on top. That is absolutely amazing. Other things that they don't realize about him is he only sleeps a few hours a night, like 5-6 hours a day, which is, that's perfectly okay. But the man is up at like 4 a.m, and he's nonstop. He doesn't drink and he doesn't smoke. And that's probably another thing that really makes them all mad, is because he doesn't partake in that. And he's a workaholic. He constantly goes for it. That's the reason why he's also 4 steps ahead of everybody else that is out there. If you're up before the crack of dawn and you have the documentation on your desk, which he requires all the time, so he can get ahead of the game before the news people get out there and start trashing him, Mr. Acosta, Mr. Whiny Bonny. Oh, it's an enemy of the state. Oh my God, please, we're the enemy. Yes, he can cry all he wants. And yes, the mainstream media is the enemy of the state. And that's all there is to it. They are sheer vileness to the American people and the way. Why is it that they have nothing good to say about America? Why is it do they have nothing good to say about our president, elected by the people, and he is for the people? Why is it that every time they go into these press conferences and accuse Sarah Sanders of all kinds of accusations, this woman is the press person who gives the information to the press. It's not like, hey, what do you think? You're a mom, and why are you calling the press the enemy of the state? That is all BS. Ask questions. Are you really that bad that you can't ask a straight-up question to the press? Get a good answer? Do your job? Be a journalist? We're going to dump into this a lot more in just a few moments. And this is KUNV. I am Russell Mays. Be right back.
So Support for 91.5 Jazz and More comes from AEG Presents. Friday, August 24th, hip-hop duo Atmosphere and reggae singer J Bug perform live at Mandalay Bay Beach.
Nice to know you, let's do it again. How we did it on a one night stand.
The concert is part of the 2018 Concerts on the Beach series, presented by Coors Light and Pepsi. Concertgoers can catch the live performance while sipping on a drink or relaxing on the sand.
And we're back. And, of course, I'm Russell Mays. It's 26 minutes after the hour of 8 o'clock here in Las Vegas, Nevada. But we were talking about the enemy of the state and enemy of the people. And they are the enemy of the people. They really are. I'm part of the media myself. As a matter of fact, I'm going to toot my own horn. I did win an award for AP Press News coverage long time ago. And it was called, I did a prison break coverage. There was a prison break in Bisbee, Arizona. And the AP Press gave me a citation for that. I was very proud of that because I try to get the story right and try to get out there and actually find the information out. But nowadays, our mainstream media will not do this. They just make up accusations. And that's the reason why they can't get any credibility with anybody. Is because all they do is throw all this junk out there without validations or verification of their information. Why they do this, I have no idea. Why? It's just amazing. And Mr. Acosta is trying to say that the Republicans are evil on this. Why do they call them the enemy of the press? And they're only there to do their job. Well, do their job. You're not supposed to go on Jimmy Kimmel's show and protest why they're the enemy of the state. You said you weren't about making the story about him. Yes, it is. And that was one of the biggest lies ever told to the people about the press. Any journalist student that has gone and studied journalism and reporting and news organizations, even all the news organizations, even this one right here, even though you're reporting a story, you are the focus of the story first. So, if you understand, it's always brought up, like that plane crash, the guy that stole that plane yesterday. The reporter's going, I'll just use an example. If I was there, this is Russell Mays from KUNV. We're reporting on this guy that crashed a plane. So, if I did not want to be the focus of the story, then I should have just said, hi, folks. Plane crash in Washington. Just tell the story. But since we are promoting the stations all the time because we need the ratings, and with ratings come money, and money keeps the lights on and the power on, that kind of thing. So that's the reason why the media, the press, doesn't matter who it is. It could be a journalist or it could be a commentator, and please, don't get them mixed up. If you have a journalist reporting a story, don't get them confused with commentators or editorials or opinionated people. And I'm telling you, most of the news nowadays is opinionated news, whether it be the right or left. It doesn't matter. I watch Fox because I think they're the most honest out there. A lot of people will disagree with me. That's perfectly fine. But CNN is the same way. They have their editorial people that will not report the news, but proverbial analyze the news and then give their spin on it. And that's what it's all about. Let me go and flip on out. Okay, the lights are always popping on and off. If your folks that are watching me on Facebook want to know what's happening, it really gets down deep. I don't know. All right, let's move on a little bit from the news, the press people. Let's go for the football kneeling again. Like I said before, why aren't these people kneeling in off season? Why aren't they protesting in off season? Did you not see any of them on the news until the first preseason game? That is stupid. I mean, that is just something that really, I don't know. It's beyond belief, to be honest with you. All right, let's see. I did want to make a notation about the Trump star that was gets destroyed out on Hollywood Boulevard. And I loved it. It's great. I put it out there. I think they should move the star to the Washington and start doing, the Walk of Fame out in Washington, D.C. And I was doing it as a joke, let's move the star out there. But then it came to me, why don't they do that in Washington? On the sidewalk, why don't they have a Walk of Fame of all the presidents that have occupied the White House on their sidewalk out there? Use a presidential seal instead of a star or something along those lines. That would be pretty cool. However, you'd probably get somebody like Obama that says, oh, I don't want the presidential seal, I want the sickle and hammer instead. And the reason why I brought that up is if you look at all the presidential portraits, all of them are in lockstep with each other. Obama had this idiot do his portrait, and I really personally think it's an ugly portrait. Obama is a good-looking man. There's no doubt about it. And this is a man saying this. He's a good-looking man. He's a good orator. Why he would want to have his picture painted that way is beyond me also. But that's the left's mindset. That's where the Democratic Party is going nowadays. The Democratic Socialist Party, if you will. And they're just going to rock and roll the world, man. They're going to open up the borders. And if they get, to be honest with you folks, if they do take the House and the Senate, they will try to impeach Trump just out of pure hatred. Nothing else but pure hatred. And the reason why I say that is because before Trump became president, or even start to run for president, all parties within the government structure, Democrat, Republican, Independent, Green Party, all of them came knocking on Trump's door for money to back them in their campaigns to become office people. All of them did. And Trump did give money to all of them also. He gave money to Hillary. He went to Hillary parties. He went to Bush parties. He went to Clinton parties. And yet, they would stand on stage and hold this guy in huge, what word am I using for honor, a place of prestige for doing this great act of helping the country out. And if you see any of the interviews of Trump way back when, he actually says that he will run for president when he is needed. And he knew for a fact he was needed during this time because Obama took our country so far to the left on the socialistic side that it was almost on the verge of destruction. Abraham Lincoln even said it. Our country will not fall from the outside. It will fall from within when people become so, how do you want to say it, so unfeeling that they don't care. Just give me, give me, give me, give me, give me. Instead of actually working. Our fathers and our fathers and grandfathers worked hard and made a life for us to be prosperous. But ever since political correctness became a part of our society, my God, you can't even spank a child. It says in the Bible that you spare the rod and you spoil a child. And that's exactly what's happening. I'm sorry, I do not believe in this timeout stuff. Okay, they even say in the Bible that how thick the switch should be. It's not a beating switch like what they do with a caning. Oh, come on. That's a sheer beating. But our bleeding heart liberals won't say anything about the other countries doing this, although vicious acts against women and the vicious acts against other people, like the homosexuals over in the Middle East. They throw them off buildings and stuff like that. But yet, here in the United States, they will protest and they'll do all kinds of stupid stuff, but they won't say a word about these other countries until until Trump goes over and talks to him. He goes over and has a conference with Kim Jong-il, the little twerp. And all the news and all the press did was, oh my God, he didn't say anything about the atrocities of the world and all the mean things that he's doing. Same thing with Putin. Oh, he had a meeting with Putin and all the atrocities and the human rights violations that he's doing. Didn't say a word about it. Well, neither did you. Not one of you people, not one, went over there and tried to talk to these leaders and say, stop the atrocities. Not one. Even Dennis Rodman, he goes over there as this idiot because the guy likes basketball. He doesn't say a word about the atrocities, but he'll sit there and handshake, and everyone goes, oh, that's okay. You're so nice, man. See what you've done? It's all a crock. Everything that is going on in the world is a crock. And if you want to say President Trump is the same thing, well, possibly. But I'll tell you something about President Trump. He is for the United States. He does not care about the other countries. He will work with them. He will do what he has to keep things prosperous. But America is number one. Bill Clinton wasn't that way. Even Bush wasn't that way. And Obama sure the heck was not that way. They all saw the United States as trash to be dumped on and how much money they can suck out of the American people. Why is it that if the Democrats get into office, they want to rescind all those tax cuts and that tax plan that Trump put in, which put $1,000 a year into people's pockets? Think about that. Why would they want to take that money away from you? Do you really, honest to God, think these people are for you? All right, let's really get down to it. Last weekend, 71 people were shot in Chicago. I think there was like, what was it? I don't know the exact number that was killed and everything else, but they said 71 people were shot. Rahm Emanuel, the mayor of Chicago, didn't say anything. He says, well, I wonder what Trump's going to do about that. Dude, this is your city, man. You have the ability to fix the problem. Then they bring up the issue about guns. Ooh, it's the guns' fault. Okay? It's the guns' fault. So then, that guy that stole that airplane in Washington and crashed it and killed himself in a suicide, it was the airplane's fault. That's what it is. It's the airplane's fault that it took off with this guy. He fought for it. He did not want to get in that plane. That plane made him get in there and do that. All right, so I'm being a little sarcastic on that. But that's the idea behind it. People don't realize Chicago has the toughest gun laws in the United States. Chicago, New York, and LA. But Chicago is like the worst. I mean, if you get even talk about a gun, they're going to arrest you unless you're a gang member or unless you're a black person living in the bad part of Chicago. Then they don't care. That's what gets me, is why are they doing this? If they take the ability of your ownership of a weapon to protect your family, and it's not about hunting, and it's not about target shooting, and it's not about any of that. The reason why they put the Second Amendment in after the First Amendment is to protect the First Amendment, to protect the country, because our Constitution is written for the people and by the people. It's not for the government. I was watching a video of the oath of office that all military personnel take. I took the same oath. And in that oath, it states that you will defend the United States from all enemies, both foreign and domestic. Think about that, folks. What is the domestic enemy? Of course, the left is going to say it's Trump. But in reality, the enemy is the press. The enemy of the people is the media, because they are the mouthpiece for the socialistic party that's trying to take control. They have a good hold on the Democratic Party. The Democrats at one time were pretty good people, even though they have a bad history of creating the slavery acts and all that other issues, the KKK. All that was done by the Democratic Party. But that's history. Now, the socialists have taken over the Democratic Party, because once they get a hold, you will never have an America again. Once the socialists get a hold of this country, and if you think about it, the socialist ideal is everybody shares everything. And everyone says, well, look at Sweden and how well it works. Well, Sweden's only, a couple of million people. They pay 90% of their paycheck, and they have a good idea of what's going on. However, people also don't realize Sweden also has a law saying that everybody should have a gun. Every household should have a weapon. Oh, did they forget to talk about that? Oh my God, I forgot. Darn. And the reason is because they know you have to arm the citizens to keep your country the way you want it. The socialists in our country know that if you disarm the citizens, then you can control the population. If you want to control the population, you have to get rid of the ability for that population to defend itself. Welcome to the world of Hitler. There you go. So, and that's not the only thing. Genghis Khan did the same thing. When he took over, even the Persians, when the Persians took over a thing, they took all the weapons away and everything else so they couldn't get retaliated against. The ability to fight for your family and your country is hugely important. Hugely important. All right, so what else are we going to be talking about here? Let's see. Okay. One of the other things that I wrote down in here is, and this is something that I love. Okay, I'm going to change it up a little bit, be a little, not humorous, but a little bit futuristic, and seeing what's coming down the line. And Trump is getting a lot of razzing about this. And I love it. I think it's great. And that's Space Force. Space Force is a great thing. I'm still fighting on the name Space Force. And the reason why is I love space. I think it's great. I love NASA. I think it's awesome. But the word space has been used so much, it's just something that, I'm associated with the Air Force or the Army or the Marines or the Navy or the Coast Guard. So the Space Force would be official new branch of the military service. And everyone's joking around, what are they going to do? Like spaceship troopers or whatever they are. Excuse me. Going out to fight some bug on a planet. Maybe in 500 years or 1,000 years from now, maybe that'll happen. Who knows? But what is going on right now is there is an actual Space Force. It's a department underneath the Air Force. And their job is to protect our satellites and our interests in space. And something else people don't realize, China already has this action in place. I don't know about Russia. I'm sure Russia does too. But if we don't get on the ball and do something, or at least make it acknowledgeable that we are concerned with what's going on. Because let's face it, you are listening to me or watching me on Facebook via satellite. Everything done. Your cell phones, the TV shows you watch, the car you drive. I mean, my car sends me emails, for God's sake, saying how good it's doing. I'll get an email from my car saying, "Hi, Russ, I'm doing fine. Everything's good." That kind of thing. It's all done by satellite. And if they take out our satellites, they blind us. Because we have become so reliant on it. That's the other reason why they're fighting so hard on Google putting these algorithms within their system to start censoring, mostly with China right now, because China wants different things censored out. So if they can filter that out for China, they can filter it out for you. It's just like if you Google something, everything that's socialistic and left-leaning information will come up first. To see everything else that's right-wing or right-leaning or conservative or constitutionalized, well, you'll have to dig 3 or 4 pages deep before you start finding articles on it. I mean, they pull information straight from New York Times, CNN, MSNBC, and more. So they can say this is what we're seeing. And that puts a lot of propaganda because people refuse to do the research. It's the reason why I have such arguments with friends of mine who are so far left they can't see beyond their nose. And I don't hold it against them, but they refuse to do the research. And you know what they say is how to make a liberal mad is tell them the truth. They can't deal with it, so they end up calling you all kinds of names, which is perfectly fine. I mean, once name-calling starts in a conversation, then you know you've won that conversation. I mean, there is no such thing. It's just like that, what was it? He wanted to do a debate with Alexia. Said he'd give her $1,000, or was it $10,000 for her campaign? But they started getting on him, and he says, no, it'll be for charity and stuff. To debate her. And the reason why he did that is to bring it out because this woman does not know anything that's going on with this country. All she knows is, oh, I want to give everybody free this, free that, free this. There is no such thing as free. No matter what you do. That's the reason why socialism and communism and Marxism and fascism have never worked in the history of the world. Because once you run out of the ability to create the money, your society collapses. That's the reason why the Democrats want to continually tax you and tax you and tax you and take your money and give it to themselves and everybody else. There's so many examples of that. Okay, let's take the wall, for instance. The wall is important that we build the wall. Why they fight so hard to go against this, but yet they'll spend billions of dollars on straw prevention of the stupidest things. It's because that money goes into the pockets of the people that are doing it. How else can somebody such as not only Nancy Pelosi, what's her name, the lady that just got caught with a Chinese spy. God, my brain is so bad today. I don't know. Maybe I should go back. But anyway, she was nothing. She's worth like $51 million now. And her district that she represents is pitifully full of transient people, poor people living on the streets, drug-ridden, people trafficking, all that. And they don't care because the money comes into their pockets. And that's what you got to do. If you really want to find out what's going on with your particular congressman or congressperson or senator or whatever it may be, is follow the money. George Bush, going to use him as an example. Dianne Feinstein. Thank you, Ben. Appreciate that, man. He just popped it up for me. Glad you could join. Dianne Feinstein. What a lovely lady. But her Spygate collusion with China does not make the news at all. So what I was getting to about the wall is Bush was like awarded $768 million to build the wall, and nothing was done. Where'd that money go? Who got that money? The other thing that irks me is they appropriated $1.2 billion to start Trump's wall. And he is starting to build the wall. But why is he building it in California? What is that? California wants sanctuary cities. California wants free borders, free open borders. They want all those people coming in. Well, let them go in there. You gotta funnel it somewhere. So let's build a wall the rest of the country, funnel all the illegals through California and let them deal with it until the wall is the last section is to build over there. That's why they were trying to break up the California into 3 sections, 3 groups, because there's different money factors in each group. If they chop it up into 3 sections, you have the Northern California, Los Angeles, and I guess it was San Diego area, San Francisco, not San Francisco, but San Diego. Those areas, one was Hollywood, one was Silicon Valley, and the other one, I can't remember what they were calling it. But Silicon Valley makes more money for California than anything else. When you see our government officials wanting to break up states like that into groups or sections, that means one part of it is carrying the weight of all the other parts. So if they take Silicon Valley away from Los Angeles and San Diego, that means those 2 places are going to go right down the tubes very fast. That means there's going to be no hope for those people, and it's going to be becoming trash. Hollywood will not be able to sustain L.A., and the reason why Hollywood wants to keep its own money. Hollywood does nothing for the city of LA. Nothing. They don't put in for education. They don't try to build up a good force. They're a very nepotistic organization. And when they don't like what's being done, then they send their movie making out to other countries or other positions. And then they let all kinds of child rapists and murderers and everything else and give them a free ride. My opinion, so. That's a lot of that stuff is going on right now. And it hurts me. It really does. Because we really do have a great country here. And I think that's what really makes me, it's more than makes me mad. I think it makes me angry because we have the ability to really lift our people up more by helping them. But instead, the people that are saying they want to help these people are the ones that are taking the money and going somewhere else with it. They don't want to help people. But yet we have the ability to help people. People were yelling at Trump about this tariff thing. And look what's happening now. Of course, it's not getting the press. The enemy of the people, the media, won't report on that. Now, since he's going to make our tariffs equal to what the other countries put tariffs on us, now those other countries are saying, well, what if we have no tariffs? That's the ultimate goal. That's free trade right there. Why? How people get in their brain set that if they charge us 25% for our goods and we only charge them 2% on their goods coming in, what is that? That has got to be the stupidest thing in the world. That's where Trump comes in. That's where this man is smart on what's going on. If you can't see how well he's doing for our country, and he's only been in office for 2 years now, 18, 19 months. If you can't see that, and for the pride that he's just instilling back into our country, Obama, at 1.9% GDP, said the country will never recover from that. We better get used to that point there. Trump got it to 4.1 already. That means they were lying to us, and the money that was coming into the government went straight into Obama's pocket. Dianne Feinstein, Nancy Pelosi, all the rest of them. Chuck Schumer, baby. All of them use the same rhetoric over and over and over again. That was something else that I want to hit upon. I only got a couple of minutes here left before we have to close it out for the day. Is every politician, basically on the left, scream and holler about all the problems that are there. But they've been screaming and hollering about all these problems for 25, 30 years. Why aren't they fixing it? Everyone talks about the medical. Oh, they don't want to cure anything. They just want to fix the symptoms. Same thing. They're only fixing the symptoms. They don't want to cure the problems of the United States because curing it means they have no more money in their pockets. And don't get me wrong, the Democratic Party is one of the richest parties around. Republicans make their money too. But don't let them persuade you saying, oh, we're the poor people. No, they're not. They make tons and tons of money. Anyway, do not watch the NFL. I despise that. The kneeling really irks me to the big time. We're about 20 minutes away from the top of the hour. I'm Russell Mays. This is KUNV. Thank you very much for everybody joining me on Facebook. Goodbye, everybody. You take care. Have an absolutely wonderful weekend coming up. I'm Russell Mays, KUNV.
Alternative radio, only heard on the Rebels. HD2.